In this video, I'll show you how you can trigger your agent in Relevance from nearly anything using Zapier. We'll have a look at an agent that gets triggered every time a new row is added to a Google Sheet. Let's dive into it. So we'll start here with a very simple Relevance agent, Research Ryan. It does research on sales prospects. It has two tools, Google Search, scrape a website, and some pretty simple instructions. So when it receives a prospect to research, it's going to scrape their company website, Google for any more information it can find, scrape any relevant websites there, and then generate a detailed formatted research report. This can be any agent you have in your account. What matters is I have over here a Google Sheet. And in this sheet, I have 3 columns, lead name, company, and company website. And anytime I add a new prospect to this sheet, I want it to trigger my agent and get Research Ryan to generate a report. In Relevance, if you go back to the profile page, you'll see we have this triggers section. And here we have built-in integrations that can trigger my agent. Outlook, Gmail, WhatsApp, HubSpot. We'll continue to add more and more of these, but we will never cover the full range of third-party services that you might want to trigger your agent from. And that's where a service like Zapier as a middle person can come in really useful. You'll see here we have a Zapier trigger, and Zapier itself is connected to thousands of services. So your Relevance agent can be triggered from basically anywhere. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we'll start by jumping over into Zapier itself, and we'll create a new Zap. And you can see here, I've created a trigger for the Zap from Google Sheets. Again, I want any new row that gets added to this table to trigger my agent. So I've created a Google Sheets step in my Zap. I've set up the trigger event to be a new spreadsheet row. I've connected my Google account, and then I've selected my leads table and the worksheet. And now if we go to the next step and click test, let's go over to our leads and let's add in a lead. How about I research myself? So Daniel Palmer from Relevance AI, relevanceai.com. Cool. So now I can go back to my Zap and I'll test the trigger. Sorry, this button's a bit covered up and I might have to test it a few times because it will need to detect the row. And great, here we go. We've got our row that it's pulled. You can see here my lead name, company, and company website. So we've got Google Sheets hooked up to Zapier perfectly, so we can continue. Great. Now it's prompting us to add the next step in our Zap, and this is where you can search for Relevance. We have a pre-built app for Zapier. So you click on Relevance, and then you want to do a few things. First of all, you want to add a message agent action. So again, we want this Zap to go and create a task for our agent. And so to do that, you've got to message the agent. So we can think of this very similarly to how you might type in a task in this input right here. Then you want to connect your Relevance account. So I've already done that, but let me show you how that's done. So if I click change and connect a new account, this pop-up will appear and it will ask you for 3 things. You want your API key, you want your project ID, and you want your region. You can get all 3 of those things from the integrations page in your Relevance dashboard. So go to the project that your agent's in, go to integrations and scroll to the very bottom and you'll see this Relevance API keys section. So I want to create a key here and then I'll delete it, I'll revoke it, don't even try. We'll create a new secret key. We might call this something like Zapier, and then you can give it admin permission. For this, you only need default permission. For most use cases, you only want to give it default. That lets it read and write to the things that you need. So we'll generate that key, and now we'll get the details that we need to plug into Zapier. Again, this will be revoked by the time you see your video. I know what you're thinking. So let me go back to Zapier, and you can see I want the API key. So that's this box here. I can click copy and paste that in. Then it wants the project ID. So that's the box at the bottom, project. So I can click copy, paste that in. And then it asks for region. So US, AU, EU, whichever one you're in. You can also see these little IDs here. Those IDs correlate with this ID you see in your API key pop-up. So we're looking for F1DB. I know that's AU region in Australia. So I can select AU. Fantastic. If you click yes, continue to Relevance AI, you've now connected that project in your Relevance account to Zapier. If we go back to Zapier, there we go, we're connected. So now we can continue, and here is where we set up the creation of the task in Relevance. So first we want to select our agent. All the agents in your project should be pulled into this dropdown, so Research Ryan, and then we want to construct a message. So again, this is like what you would type in here if you want Research Ryan or whatever your agent is to work. And we can also, by clicking this plus button, get access to the columns in the spreadsheet row. I might want to say something like, please research, and then add in the lead name, who works at, company name. You can find their website at company website. Awesome. If we continue now, we can send a test. So let's test and see if it creates a task for our agent. So we'll test. And if we go back to relevance, we can refresh the page a few times and see if it works. There it is. So it sent a message, as we asked, please research Daniel Palmer, who works at Relevance AI. You can find their website at relevanceai.com. So again, this aligns with this spreadsheet data we've put in. And now our agent has started doing what we asked it to do. So it's scraped, it's done some Googling, it's tried to scrape LinkedIn. That hasn't worked. So it's now trying to scrape a different LinkedIn post that might work. Fantastic. Our agent is kicked off into action. And so if we go back to Zapier, we can publish this. And now anytime we add a new row to that sheet, our Zapier is going to trigger your zap is on, as they say. Very fun. So let's go back to the lead and let's add a new person from our company. How about the person that does most of the work behind these videos? I'm just the pretty face that jumps on camera. Caitlin, and again, she works at relevanceai.com. So this adding a new row should go and trigger Zapier. And then if we go to our agent and start refreshing the page, there's our research reporter Daniel on me. And damn, there we go. Our task has been created. Please research Caitlin McCartney, works at Relevance AI. Fantastic. And off research Ryan goes. Now bear in mind, it won't be instant once you add your new row. So Zapier has a delay. It checks every now and again for events, not just every second. So there'll be a delay going to Zapier and then a slight delay from Zapier to Relevance. So there might be anywhere from 30 seconds to 4 or 5 minutes of delay as part of that process. But ultimately, here we go. We have an agent being triggered from new leads in our Google Sheet. Awesome. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if there's any other videos you want me to make. In the meantime, I've been Dan. This is Relevance. I'll see you later.